Her lips which whispered, like reeds on the wind, wet with moisture sprung from a well deep within, whispers, like the petals of an iris, the reedy blossom which weathers and is not trodden down for long. I'm going to pick it up with line 671. It's Fell Burgundy Iris, or Moses Cleveland's Canterbury Tales, Book 3. What bargain was made with price to be paid to render such walls ever standing? With tab not in coin were such stones enjoined. What bondage for mortar outlasting? Sorceress for hire, Eve would conspire to plunder the riches of legend. Pale like a wraith with unnatural grace, resembling a denizen of heaven. Flowing white hair in garments austere, with simple gold draped round her neck. The part she resembled as party assembled, past trials to ponder and reflect. The captain, I'm told, was skilled with his bow, as were the men he commanded. How well would they fare? Less certainty was there. What loyalty the currency demanded. What deeds nigh outdone for 9 shares of one, perhaps 4.5 shares together? Nay, full share for captain and half each for men, for loyalty less determined by weather. Agreed indeed, 8 half shares apiece, and 1 for the captain of archers, or 4 shares amongst all, should fate pay a call to those not slain on the march. Together we fare in company for years, what closeness of bonds we've acquired. Temptation be damned, 'twill not guide my hand to folly for personage desired. 12 steady mules for gem and for jewels, and other, if need be, brought back. Of such remittance, what cost but a pittance? For horses we still were to lack. Derek, Feline, and Armando so clean, Jenna, Jade, Fred, Saul, and Nigel, Claudia so bold, and Esmeralda, I'm told, and Catania with Viper to guide. Dread would stay home, though Amber did go, not so Edgar, that Elmo, and Eli. Matilda Sutter, her job was to putter, and serve all who saw fit for to buy. I'm losing the belt there. Yeah, there we go. Oh, grand agenda, what praise I could lend, you're all so hopelessly daft. Serpents and treasure, what heaping full measure, have yet you to rid us of rats. Rats in the cellars, why not did you tell us? Matilda, your silence does tarnish. Hesitation ploy, does grievance bring joy? Why tarry for significant varnish? To choose to obey with untimely delay, upholding the will without warrant. At times hers to choose, she would listen to rules and obey within any undue moment. What secrets do keep in Ashton's dark deep, in cellars and passages low? They date from times ancient, these archival basements, what knowing could cellars bestow. Far more than mere sewers, what pestilence brews in labyrinthine sub-cellars' vastness. The passage long sealed with a rock that concealed a fortress of considerable fastness, built in a time when siege was in mind, far forward than ever has been. For 300 years the entrance lay sealed, barred was its passage to men. A slab of some weight atop entrance was laid, perhaps to keep passers from falling. So, nay, not rightly, for a block like this might be more likely to keep strangers from calling. Any rat you have seen from down there might be, connects there the imperial sewers. The door to the channel is but wooden panel, and rats, they are nefarious chewers. A tunnel leads lower to where I'd not go, the air leaves me quite apprehensive. In the war of the fall, the gore herd besieged all, for victory such tunnels grew propensive. Of Ashton far greater, a grand city-state, now but a diminutive village. In considerable haste all above was laid waste, of below the goers had yet to pillage. Yet dark things do dwell in this subterranean hell, but of such there be only hints. Odd sounds in the depths, and huge webs like nets, strange smells and some fell fleeting glints. The slab away slid, all scurrying things hid, for light they would likely more dread. Far worse than Catania, any fell duke's lost daughter, or Esmeralda, Mithrax, or Fred. Nope, or Esmeralda, Mithrax, or Dread, sorry. Fred opted to decline, letting dread go this time, as never had he ever been below. Know not, he might, that things down there bite, of learning it's time he should know. Down the narrow stair, the air-chilled skin bare, the steps wound away to the left. Where did it go? Midst debris that was strewn, but one woman's shoe, quite new, was no foot yet around. Unsettling sight, not feeling quite right, no woman nor match could be found. A noise to the right had made for a fright, a scampering sound just ahead. His torch held aloft, regretting his scoff, for his brother wished poor little dread. They came upon a stair, midst fright and a scare, unnerved he stifled a cough. Up it did climb, above kegs once of wine, to the opening of the old sewage trough. A room lay beyond, and stairs led back down, opposite of the old sewage channel. A floor block from below atop the channel opening would go, thus replacing the lost rotted panel. The sewer now sealed from small rats at least, Catania and Dread resolved to explore. A stair did she find, straight down with no wind, to a room flanked on either side by doors. The first door held fast, the right gave it last, yet gotten they were all the same. For in the torchlight they had no clear sight of the encroaching large unruly game. Closed with a slam that rattled its wrought bands, hoping that against such beasts it would hold. What brief fleeting glimpse nigh to decompense any fantasy involving lost gold. Back up they then ran, for their weapons at hand seemed incredibly small to behold, when viewed in contrast with the creature that passed beyond door number 2 down below. Well, not did I see what was that it be, in its stature. Its height matched its girth, both greater than mine, will return some other time when gold greater value is worth. And up again they ran as well, on past that fallow musty smell, on past that fallow musty dust, that bitter air of blood and rust. What fallow heap of dust disturbed, as yearning by the beast was curbed, irony what dust could settle hither where one met his metal. A mote of dust is but a speck, motes of dust tend to collect, as I assume a fuller form, draw myself together, reborn. I think I'm going to stop right there. Like I said, this gets into this part I want to read like pretty much all together, but that's going to be it pretty much for tonight. Like I said, oh geez, my arm is getting sore and weak. I think I lost the, yeah, where did Orion go? Oh, well, yeah, there's one of the other things I want to say about Prigozhin and the Wagner mercenaries and the whole St. Petersburg thing. It goes back to the siege of Leningrad and the whole issue with cannibalism. You know, it becoming a religious issue with unfriendly intel always attempting to justify it. You know, because, you know, during the siege of Leningrad, the residents of Leningrad, you know, aka St. Petersburg, were forced to eat people. So that figures into a lot of stuff, most of which I can't talk about, but, oh, you can take it back quite a piece, you know, with certain issues. One thing I did find is, back when I was waiting closure on the Hansen thing, back around 1999 or so, I decided to see how far I could go without eating, and basically I was able to go 9 days without food before I started to look at people in a different way. And you know, when you start talking about climate science and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff is still classified, so it's like you don't want to go with the pop culture issues there, because a lot of that's just a compromise, because somebody apparently at the Pentagon is sold out. You know, and that goes back to, you know, all the issues with, you know, exploiting military flight perks to convey classified and sensitive information abroad. Because I imagine pretty much every nation has done research in this particular area, you know, like worst case scenarios, you know, in regards to like World War and, you know, WMD attacks and things like that. So there's a fine line there that you can go, and most people go right past it. You know, that's a big issue, but it's like I said, with most of the best climate science, I hate to say it, but the Department of Defense generally has the best people involved in looking into this kind of stuff. So that's one of the things you have to watch out for too, because you can't justify an intelligence compromise by, the rightness or the whatever of what's being leaked. So that's something else that you have to watch out for too. But like I said, when it comes down to just total anarchy that would result, after a WMD strike, nuclear, biological, or chemical, NBC, there's no MS in that. Who knows? Maybe there's, there might be. Maybe there's a bioweapon that causes MS, but we're talking nuclear, biological, and chemical. That's the old school term for WMD. I don't know why they change words like that. If you look at it from an NBC perspective, you can still find the trends, whereas like with the WMD stuff, a lot of it ends up getting hidden. And that goes back to the old school proverbial change the name to make the liability thing go away, which is something that's been done. I won't go into it, but Soviet Union, when it comes to WMD use, they changed the name. So, that liability under international law no longer applies. And, you see the same trick, too, when you start talking about hostile investors and corporations. And, unfriendly intel claiming rights to representation based on property ownership and taxation. Because, when you start talking about corporate mergers and bankruptcies, you see that a lot in places where they've been operating, because it covers up the liability. Heads up on that, though. Have a good day. More to come later.